Good evening, Seven Fish. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's video. I'm excited about this one. We've got a new product that we're trying out on another product. So as you may know, I'm a huge Garmin geek. I love everything Garmin, from the Garmin E-Trex when we're elk hunting to the Garmin. I used the Striker 4 on my kayak for a while. I used the Striker 4 on the ice. Then I ended up getting a 63 CV. CV stands for Clearview. Ran that for a while, open water and on the ice. And now we ended up putting a 73 SV on the Crestliner a couple weeks ago. But I thought, ooh, if we have that on the big boat, why don't we maximize our opportunity with that 73 SV and put it also on some sort of portable kit? So I did some research after watching a couple videos. Jay Siemens did a great video on the Garmin LiveScope system with the shuttle. Summit Fishing makes a really cool shuttle, and I saw it on Jay's video, and I saw it also on a lot of the Facebook forums for Garmin addicts, LiveScope addicts. So with that being said, I ended up building a system where I can hook up my 73 from the boat into the shuttle and run it portably. So this is the unit that I made. Really excited to get out and try this. We're going to try it down in Kansas here in 2 days. So hopefully it helps us catch some fish. As you can see, the 73 isn't on here right now because it's on the boat, but all I needed was the gimbal mount, and I can just snap that in. The nice thing about the Garmin's is you just click them in, click them out. So I can click that in when I want to run this portably, whether I want to put this on my kayak, I don't know if I do, or if I want to put it from the boat to Multifarious's boat to another person's boat. As long as you have a Scotty mount, that's the cool part. The rod fits in any Scotty mount. So here's the rod. This is how you adjust which direction you're going. You can also use this same piece on the ice. It comes with a little tripod bracket. There's a ram mount. It's a 6-inch. They make a 9-inch that you could run too with a B-size ball. That's 1.5 inches. Here's your Scotty mount. Bam. As you know, I already have one of these on my kayak. Set that in, run your pole straight down. If you need to extend it, you can extend it. What's really nice is they make a quick detach for the Garmin transducer. So here's the Garmin LiveScope LVS32. As you know, this LiveScope system requires an LVS32 with the GLS 10, which is the black box. That's the motherboard, that's the computer, that's the processor. That's what's helping you acquire that image and stitch all three together because it's shooting 135 degrees. So you pop that open, stick this on the end of your pole, and then you can run that pin right back in, lock that pin in, and now you have your transducer on here. When it's in the water and this is sealed to your boat, you can turn this whole unit just by loosening this, and you can spin it and follow fish, follow drop-offs, follow structure, whatever you need to get on. This is super handy and super portable. But what I wanted to talk about in today's video is kind of how I rigged it. I had to watch Jason's video from Garmin LiveScope Addicts multiple times. Sorry about that. I had to watch Jay's video a couple times too. Now everyone seems to run this a little different, depending on their own preferences or setup, whichever they prefer. Well, I wanted it a certain way, they wanted it a certain way. I had certain pieces, they had certain pieces. I'll show you exactly kind of what I ended up running and how I did it. Step 1, sort all of the screws. This is minus the 2 wood screws, which I just took out to install the battery bracket right here. That holds the battery nice and tight right here. Now I knew my battery, it has not arrived yet, but I know it is 7 1/4, 7 1/8, 7.125 inches. So I took a tape measure and made sure I was at least, because I don't want it super tight, but I don't want it super loose, 7 1/8 of an inch on all sides. Step 2, you need 4 of these little nuts and 4 of these 3/8 inch little bolt screw things. Well, anyways, you're gonna take, as you can see here, 1, 2 nuts, 1, 2 nuts, and then on the outside is where you screw in the screws, like that. And now you have 3 things done so far. Battery holder, side 1, side 2. And these are the leftover pieces we have not used yet. Next step. All right, so the next thing I had to do was put on the back. The back is not hard. You keep using the same screws. I actually used up the pile that was right here, the little 1/2 inch ones. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you actually have a 5th one right there. But once you get them all snug, you're good to go. The next step is assembling the bracket where your chart plotter will go. And this is gonna end up sliding in this groove. You can see all the holes, but that's the next step. So let me do it, then I'll show you. Once you insert the 3 nuts, 1, 2, and 3, you can screw in 1, 2, and 3 with your 3/4 inch piece right there. That is how it looks so far, and these are my remaining pieces. As you may have noticed, this whole thing is 3D printed, but the side pieces have an L and an R on them. Probably for Lincoln and Reverend. No, it actually means left and right. So of course the right's gonna go over here and the left's gonna go over here. And you can just see that by taking the piece and lining up the holes. These holes fit perfectly right there. R, L, fully attached. 2 of the 3/4 inch pieces, you have to get underneath here once again, put your nuts in, and then cinch them up. So now we look like this. Our next step, I assume, I'll have to read the manual, is gonna be this bracket. So the next step is to put your black box on. It attaches with 4 of the 1 inch bolts. And then in between the black box and the other side, you've got 1 washer, 2 washer, and then the locking nut. 4 of those, mine actually only came with 3 locking nuts, so I ended up just using a normal one on the bottom. I would rather have this top side supported. At this point in time, because I don't have my battery in yet, it comes Tuesday, the unit is gonna wanna fall, so I've been just propping it up against the box. So that is how it should look so far. All right, next step is to add the switch, which you can just shove in here. Black. So you have your negative, you have your positive, and then you have, if you ever want to run this over, this middle over into this other accessory port, okay? And you have your handle. You'd attach that by just running your big bolt and big bolt, okay? And then you have your actual Garmin mount that you just mount to this with 4 bolts. And then I went through and fed through my Ethernet, no sonar, no NEMA 2000, and then I ran through my power. Everything else I have sitting on the bottom, and I need Multifarious' help to do all of the wiring. So we will wait for him to do the rest. I needed Multifarious's help with the electrical part because that part totally just mind boggled me. It made sense until there's a switch involved. The reason you want to switch is because when I lift this up and show you, you need to get power to the GLS 10 and you need to get power to your 73 SV. Now this you can turn off. You cannot turn off the power to your black box. So if I had this connected to my battery right now, which I do, I'm running a 30 amp hour, amped outdoors, tall battery, which I'm stoked about. It's a lithium battery. That will allow me to run this thing at least 1, 2, for sure 2, maybe 3 full days without recharge on the water. Why run around with little batteries when you can just have one big and not worry about it? Because this LVS system uses a lot of juice, especially if you're running it all day. Now this is only a 73. I could put a 9-inch gimbal on here and run a 93. That of course would require more juice. If I ran a 12-inch or a 10-inch Garmin, that of course would also suck more battery life. So the cool part about this is that it has that switch I was telling you about right here. Flip this on, you see the purple light, purple, blue, whatever it looks like for you. That means there's power coming to this, power coming to the black box, and also we wired a USB cable here to either charge your phone or our GoPro, which could possibly be looking at us, and the GoPro might also be looking at the screen. So that switch runs power to this whole thing. When I don't want any power, after I turn this off and unplug whatever device I have here, I can go ahead and cut the main power and we're good to go. Now the confusing part is running the switch and running the accessories. If you buy this system, I highly recommend buying the Garmin harness. The harness basically, instead of running power, a power cord from here to your battery, and then a power cord from your GLS 10 to your battery. The harness grabs one from here, singles it down into one, and pumps it out so you can just take basically like a Y. You have power, all into the battery. And then you can spin it around and you have everything on the back. So here's a close-up view. Sorry, it's pretty heavy. I didn't put on a scale, but it probably ends up being about 20 pounds. So here's how we wired it. If you want me to go in depth about exactly how we wired everything, leave a comment below and we'll film a whole separate video on it. I don't want to get too complex, but basically you have your ground here, you have your middle, which could be ran for accessories. We ended up running it straight to the battery. And then finally your bottom positive. And then you have your accessory port, which is my USB cable. I ran it to 2 little gray clips. You just clip in a negative and a positive, and then you have an accessory ready to go. So that's kind of how we ran that whole setup. That is about it. I'm very excited to try this whole system on the water. For sure on the ice. It's gonna be a game changer on the ice. But I can tell you, when we're on open water in the boat, being able to snap this into any boat that has a Scotty female end, fantastic. So that's that setup here. When you're done with it, everything folds down, cinches up, nice and compact. Pretty light system. This is the longer rod. I decided to get the longer rod because that crest finder is a deep V. But then when we're running on the ice, just go ahead and make it as short as possible. If we're around the Nebraska area, maybe I have to stick it a little bit longer in the very end of a Minnesota trip, possibly. So that is about it. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Hope some of the steps on how to set up the shuttle were beneficial. Very excited to use this. Hopefully you see some footage of us using this very soon. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in next week's video. Whoop.